Well, welcome. My name is Carla Blake, and today is Monday, August 19th. This interview is being conducted at Gulf Coast Community Foundation at approximately 10:55. This oral history is part of the Chamber of Commerce Leadership Class of 2024 class project, and we're focused hearing on the stories of local and some multi-generational businesses. So please state your name and the name of your business and what services you provide.
Can I tell?
Susan Heitel, and we are a fine jewelry store in downtown Venice on West Venice Avenue.
Wonderful. When and how did your business begin?
We started September 30th, 1974. We've been here just about 50 years, and we've always been in the same location.
Thank you. Tell me about your background and how you came to live in Venice.
We don't live in Venice. It would pause that because
Okay.
we don't live in Venice.
Okay.
So you'll have to.
Um, okay.
Why
I'll
we open
rephrase-
this?
I'll rephrase
just
that.
about opening the
Okay,
store. Why don't you
perfect.
take that one?
Tell me about your background and how you came to open up a business in Venice.
When I got out of the Marine Corps, I became a stockbroker. Didn't really like investing other people's money. We decided, my dad was in jewelry business in Sarasota. We decided to open a store, and we couldn't open in Sarasota, and Venice was a town I knew. We opened with about $10,000 total capital. We were a pretty instant hit, and the business grew as the town grew. Susan had a background in retailing. She worked for a large department store in Atlanta, and she actually knew more about retailing than I did.
Well, thank you. And thank you for your service. What is one of your favorite stories from your business?
I think that we have younger people coming in telling us, I've been coming to your store since I was a little girl. I used to visit my grandparents on vacation when the family came to Venice, and they would come in, and it was always special to come to Heitel Jewelers. And now these same people are getting engaged and coming into our store.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any business traditions?
We used to. We used to have a cocktail party Christmas time, first Tuesday in December. And when COVID came along, we had to suspend it, but we would have a heavily catered party, probably have 100, 120 people in attendance in a small store. And that went on from about the time we opened in 74 until 2020.
2020, yeah. Mm-hmm.
We haven't resumed it because of the threat of getting too many people in a small place.
I just want to remind you to incorporate the question in your answer.
Okay.
It's okay. That's
Oh,
what we're
okay.
here for.
All right.
I just want to remind you. What makes Venice the unique place that your business thrives?
People, people are very loyal to Venice, and they like to shop locally, and that's what makes it so special down here.
Venice has such a big population of winter residents. During the winter season, the people come in who are from out of town, and most of the locals wait until summertime because they can't find a place to park. Uh, we've been privileged to have a town that grew along with us. In the early years, back in the 70s, we would, all the merchants would walk outside. There were no cars parked on the street, and they would stand around and talk to each other because it was just that quiet. You could roll a bowling ball down the street and not hit anything.
Our family moved in 72. I remember it well.
Mm-hmm.
Again, remind you to incorporate the
Yes.
question
Yeah.
in your
Yes,
answer.
sorry.
What are you?
Well, we
You're
started
proudest.
on a shoestring, and we're proudest of the fact that we grew along with the city of Venice. And now we're one of the largest jewelers on the west coast of Florida. We have customers all over the country. And we deal with the grandparents, the parents, and now the grandchildren. Grandparents bring their grandchildren in and the grandchildren are in their 30s to get wedding rings and engagement rings because they know they can get a fair price and get very good service. And we pride ourselves on the service we've given.
What are the big growth opportunities for Venice business life and civic life?
Well, and the opportunities for growth in business in Venice are pretty much unlimited. Sarasota was a much smaller town. Sarasota has grown. People that used to come to Sarasota now come to Venice because it's a much quieter lifestyle. Sarasota seems overgrown with temporary residents. Venice has more of a hometown feel. Through the city commission, we've kept our height limitations. We haven't overgrown the city. The city is very refreshing to people. And the businesses have prospered because the people moving in obviously are a demographic that makes very good customers and they love the town.
Thank you. Where do you see your business heading in the next 10 years? And the second part of the question is, and what are some big decisions that you might have to make?
Well, in the next 10 years, we have some big decisions to make. Basically, my wife and I are approaching retirement age. In fact, we're well past retirement age. And it's not going to be sold as a going business because we would not sell the name and have someone else open it. What somebody opens in the space, we own the building, but we have no control over. But businesses in Venice will prosper over the next 10 years. This town is an excellent town for business. You just have to treat the people fairly, and you have to deal with them in the way you would want to be treated.
Answer the question, including the question. And I just like to remind you, you're doing great. And I made noise, but that was okay. Okay. I'm like, ah. And I'm so engaging. I want to say yes, yes, I can. But I can't. so I just try to nod and smile. This is me using self-control.
I'm impressed.
I'm trying, thank you. Um, okay, the next question. When did you join the Chamber of Commerce? And second part is please state the year or how many years you've been a member, and then that's a good time to state your service.
Okay. We joined the chamber in 1974. We've been in business for 50 years and are still members of the chamber, obviously.
In the initial years with the chamber, I served on the board of the chamber for a few years in the early 70s, mid 70s. But the chamber's always been very supportive of the town. I mean, there was always a little friction with the Sarasota Chamber of Commerce, but the Venice Chamber of Commerce took a real interest, and Main Street, Venice, also took a big interest and a big part in the development of Venice Avenue and the promotion of Venice Avenue.
You forward at that.
I think I did.
Oh,
Yeah,
did you?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he
You
did say, he
Okay,
did say
I'm
that.
sorry.
That's okay.
Okay. How has the chamber impacted your business?
How has the chamber impacted our business? In the early days, you're trying to establish a name, you're trying to get customers, and basically, small businesses are trying to stay in business. We were lucky. In 2 years, we had a lot of growth. The third year, we bought a building. Things were much more doable in those years than they are today. Now, it's much more expensive to go into business. We had local banks, particularly First National Bank of Venice, and Merle Grazier, who became the mayor. They went out of their way to help businesses. Now, most banks are absentee ownership. It's much more difficult to start. But back then, they were very, very helpful.
And also, we've had people come into the store who say, I didn't know where to go to have my jewelry repaired or buy my jewelry, and the chamber recommended your store. So that's always been very positive for us.
What was the deciding factor that made you join the chamber initially?
We joined the chamber because we want to support Venice and the community, and it was the right thing for us to do.
How do you want you and your business to be remembered?
We want to be remembered as being fair to our customers and what's the term? Giving them a good deal and being helpful in any of their requests that they have.
I think we want to be also remembered. We gave back to the city. We donate to every cause, the schools, the civic organizations, the
Golf communities.
the flower people, because we think this is what makes the town special. We've also been able to give to Semper Fi Foundation, which helps wounded servicemen. We think being charitable is part of being part of the community. And we've enjoyed that and felt like we made a contribution.
If you could pass on one piece of advice or wisdom to future generations in Venice, what would it be?
Probably if you're gonna set up a business, the advice I would give you is be in charge of your own business. Don't hire people to run your business. Do it yourself. If you don't want to do it yourself, don't go into business. Work for somebody. And so many businesses don't hire people that can represent themselves, and then they forget to show up to work also. So the single best thing is show up.
Thank you. And thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate the time that you've spent, and getting to know you has been delightful. And we thank you for your business, and this concludes our interview.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. It's delightful getting
Oh,
to know you better.
Thank you.
Truly
Thank you.
delightful. And our family moved in 72, as I said, so we've seen the transition.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's
I was a
been
little girl back
tremendous
Yeah.
what's happened, and I mean,
But
you
the
know,
other, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead and finish.
then. Is there anything you want to add that I didn't ask?
No, but the other thing is downtown Venice has basically stayed the same. It's the same charming street that it always has been. And they're very surprised when they come down here.
and I grew up in Sarasota, and we always thought we were retired, we'd want to move downtown. The whole town has changed, and Venice has not. And we're still fighting the same battle with the same people.
I will add one thing though. Right before we opened, I was talking to a friend of mine, and I mentioned to her that Ken and I were opening a jewelry store in downtown Venice. And she lived in Venice, and she said, "Oh, I don't think Venice needs another jewelry store." And of course, I came home and I was so upset. Ken calmed me down, and here we are 50 years later. Mm-hmm.
I always say it's like a charming home.
There you
Isn't
go.
it?
Yeah,
Yes,
it is.
It's a
that's
charming
that's the
little
perfect
Hallmark movie town.
that's the perfect way to put it.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
it hasn't exploded. I mean, you don't have a freeway running through downtown. I worry about the politicians that we get into the city government and the county government. And there's not much you can do about it. I mean, it's backed by tremendous amounts of money. But it's for the next generation. We've had our time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Voting,
And voting.
right? Voting. It's hard to see all that big development.
Well, I mean, you've got Tom Knight, who's a Venice guy, and you've got, what's his name, Rainford? He moved into Venice when he got selected to represent us. And the big developers are behind him. And I'm not against development. My father was a developer.
Right.
But it's crazy that
Can't have the density.
we're being represented by
There we go.
somebody with no ties to the community.